All right, Kendall, we are live.
Great grind day.
Co-
What's going on?
not a whole lot, man. Just trying to be somebody when I grow up.
Oh, look, I remember I said that to somebody years ago, and they were like, man, how you doing, young fella? I was like, man, I'm trying to be like you when I grow up. And he said, don't set your standards so high. I was like,
Uh,
whoa. It didn't hit me for a minute. Then I was like, ooh.
yeah. Most people say don't set your standards so low. And
Oh
I'm like,
no, he
well,
was
I
like, don't
guess
set
we
them
could
so
be
high.
like each other. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me today. It means a lot. I know you're a busy guy and got to get an opportunity to speak with you is awesome. It's amazing. Appreciate everything that you've done for me since we've met. But as everyone knows that tunes in here, so we're going to talk for another few seconds because I have about 1 million viewers, Kendall, that watches.
Let's go. Shout
So
out to 1 million of y'all.
yeah, all 1 million. So
Let's
we'll wait
go.
for them to get on here. But the biggest thing is for me to be able to share my network. And LinkedIn is a place where over a great deal of time that I've been able to I feel like have the biggest impact, like and build the best relationships, like in regards to business as that goes.
Yep.
And many of those business relationships have turned personal. So it would just be, shame if I had these friends out here and these connections and the network and didn't share it with everyone. And so, as you know, when the pandemic got announced, I kind of, we'll talk about my turtle maybe, but the type of person that I am, I kind of hunkered down and I started to work on processes, procedures, and such. And then, this was a time for me to really think about, hey, like I'm at home, I have this equipment. It's all available. Let's just start going live every week and just sharing the network. So we're gonna go ahead and get started, but I'm not gonna introduce you. If you could just tell us who you are and what you do, that would be a good start.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what's crazy, Shawn. There was a period in my life where people would ask me that question, and I think most people, like, we get caught up in the I help this, I coach this, I'm a corporate that, and I think there was a period where people would ask me, and I would be like, man, who, like, what do, who am, what? And then now, I promise you, I'm 52 years old, and I just caught this maybe less than a year ago. Um, I know exactly who I am and exactly what I do only because of a life experience. So I always tell people when I was 9 years old, literally, maybe 8, 9, maybe it wasn't 10. My dad, he drank a lot, right? And so he drank at the bar around the corner. Now I'm 52, like I said. So back then you had the corner store, you
Yes.
had the bar, you had the barbershop. Everything was right there in the neighborhood. And he
Right.
used to go to the bar every night and drink. He was always home by 11, but he would come home twisted. And so I was always in his stuff, always in his toolbox, always messing around with his stuff. And one time I was like, I'm going to make a shoe shine box. Please don't ask me where I got the idea from.
You
It seemed
said
like
you were making a shoe shine box.
a shoe shine. Now, some of our more millennial viewers on here, they might be like, what is a shoe shine box? For my OGs, I like to call us, they know. But a shoe shine box is that if you're going through the airport now, sometime you might be going through the train station, you see the guys standing around with the jackets on and people sitting in their chairs getting their shoes shine.
Right.
And so back then we had wooden shoe shine boxes. And so I took some wood that he had in the basement and I, messed around with all the stuff he had and I made a shoe shine box, or what was supposed to be a shoe shine box. And in my head, I said, yo, I'm going to go to the bar with my father because I knew he was going and was going to be there, and I'm going to shine shoes. So I asked him, could I come there sometime and shine shoes? And he said, sure, why not? I don't think he knew I was going to take his stuff and do it. So I created the shoe shine box, made the shoe shine box. I went into his drawer, took all his polish out of his drawer, the used polish and the new polish. I promise you I remember this. Took the polish out and I said, Pop, I'm gonna come up to the bar and shine shoes. So I told my boys, a couple of my boys came with me. We went to the bar. I'm talking about I shining shoes. They was helping me shining. I left the bar that night with about $50, maybe $75. Now for 8, 9-year-old, huge. I'm talking about I was a millionaire at that point.
Yeah.
And we did that Friday. We did it Saturday. We did it the next week. But here was the catch. My friends, after I was done working, they would be like, let's go to the store. Let's go to the diner. We had a White Castle. We can get hamburgers for $1 and all that. But they were taking my money. And I was like, okay. So I said, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show y'all how to make your shoe shine boxes. And I'm going to help you make your box. I'm going to show you where we can go get the polish. And basically I said, I'm going to put you on, right? So I said, all I want is $1 off every shoe you shine. And they were like, great. We're charging like $3 for a shoe. And we always got tips because they was in there drinking. They wanted to look out for the little guys.
Yeah.
And so the bar where we were at got a little saturated. So I told my guys, y'all stay here. I'm taking Mike with me and we going down to the bar on 12th Street. Right.
Okay.
We went down to the bar on 12th Street, cleaned up, and we all met back at that first bar and then went to the store next door. Everybody cleaned up. Everybody gave me $1. And we went on to do that for a long time. And so I always tell people it has been since I was about 9 years old when I knew that I was a business builder. Like I didn't know what it was called back then, but I always knew it. And so my life has been based on starting, growing, building, winning, losing, failing in life and business. I love to build, grow, and scale in life and business through ups, through downs, the whole thing. And I know a lot of people say, well, I've never heard about building, growing, and scaling in life. Absolutely. I'm a big believer that before you can do business, you got to do life.
Right.
I used to say to people, if your personal life is a mess, everything else is going to be a mess.
Right.
And so when people ask me who I am and what do I do, there was a period where I couldn't tell people to Google me because if you Google me, my mugshot would come up from when I caught a DUI because I was an alcoholic.
Right.
And so now when people tell me, how did you get to where you are? How were you able to build this business? What are some of the strategies that you use in your business? I said, the first thing I did was stop drinking.
Right.
Because I built Kendall from the inside out. Anything I did before that, it never worked. It never lasted. But as soon as I put the bottle down, I made different decisions and I got committed to building, growing, and scaling my life. And that's when the business kicked in. So when people say, what do you do? I help people build, grow, and scale in life and business. And I have experience doing it, nearly 50 years.
50 years.
Yeah. At 2 years old, I probably wasn't doing nothing. But so I started at 3.
several decades, though.
Yeah. Somebody asked me the other day, Shawn, it's like, they said, Coach, man, how long did it take you to get there? I said, 52 years. Yeah. How long did it take you to get to be 30? 30. Okay. That's how long it takes.
Wow. No, that's a good point. And so that's, how we met through a certification that I was doing. Yep. And, you all were helping us become speakers and certified speakers. And through that time frame, I'd been coached, throughout my career and such, and just my entire life through sports and parenting by my mom and such. And then I met you through this program. Mm-hmm. And I just always recall, like you would always say, hey, I'm not a speaker, I do business. Yeah. And that stuck with me. And then also, there's a big thing about like authenticity and transparency. That's like these buzzwords that people are talking about more often than not these days. And I noticed that about you is that you were always yourself. Right. Mm-hmm. But then when I would Google you, that mugshot didn't come up. It would be about like the clients that you serve. Mm-hmm. Right. And you have a pretty cool and a very good who's who list of, speaking engagements and trainings and, clients that you've been able to service. So that was always really intriguing to me, Kendall, because I'm like, during that time frame, I had just really come out of a corporate environment where everything was largely politically correct. Mm-hmm. So I was pivoting into I was always entrepreneurial, but starting my own business, right? And getting my story out and telling my story out to also be unapologetically myself. Yep. And so I don't know if you remember, it was the day that I got certified. I didn't even know I was going to get certified that day because I'm my own worst critic. I'm hard on myself. Yeah. And then I kind of pulled you out and I was talking and was very cryptic. Yeah. And then you were just like, Shawn, here's my number. Just call me. You want me to coach you, right? And so you know, we formed a connection, and so I just want to say, due to your authenticity, basically a lot of the stuff that you actually talk about, and knowing that, you know, you don't have to be so politically correct and, you know, in that box that people want you to be to serve the people that really need you. That's why, you know, one of the biggest reasons why I really appreciate you. So one of the things I would ask you is, like, you know, we talked about, it sounds like the aha moment, Kendall, for you is when you said you stopped drinking, right?
Yeah.
And then,
but I told, hold on real quick. We got to be careful when we say that, all of us, because we'll have people thinking that I just woke up one day and was like, yo, I'm done. I stopped. And that was it. I was telling somebody just last night, Shawn, I said, don't think, I mean, I did get committed when I said I stopped, but I had said it 2-3 years, every year, 3-4 times a year before that.
right.
And it never happened. So it was, but that was the key thing. That was when it really started.
Got it. And then so for me, like the coaching that I've been doing with you, you've been helping a lot. Like I said, with us, we're working on my story, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're working on the buckets and the frameworks.
Yeah.
So some of the things that I wrote down to be prepared for this conversation today, you have so many frameworks, sir. You got a Q6 this and a
WLY.
Like, two things, right? If you could tell us about, number one, the importance of, so we're going to start with the business piece and then we're going to get to life. Yes. So we're going to talk about the frameworks and what they mean to business, and, you know, why they're so important to you. And then we're going to talk about the importance of those buckets, because the buckets are very important. It's something that I haven't seen illustrated in the way that you've been able to do it with us. And then I think it definitely applies towards your life in regards to that balance. So tell me about the frameworks.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've learned over the last few years is my job has become being that guy that can take complicated structures and turn them into simple frameworks for people to easily understand how to get from where they are to where they want to be. Now, the crazy thing is I've been freestyling for years, right? Not even knowing this was a framework, that was a framework. But then I just started trying them out. And what I found is that by giving people simple frameworks, like just simple, like a Q framework, and the Q stands for question. And so the first question is, from the business side, is who are you, right? What do you want, right? What do you do, right? Who do you do it for? Meaning, who's your ideal client or customer, right? And being able to answer these questions to give you clarity in your messaging. Because think about it. You come into business, you start a business, and you say, I need to build a website. What do you want to put on it? First thing the web designer is going to say is, okay, give me the content. I need the content to go on the website. And you don't know, because you don't really know who you are, what you do. You don't have an explanation of services. You just saying to yourself, I want to start a business. I want to do real estate. I want to speak. I want to coach. I want to open up a store. But when you go through the Q framework, it helps you get the clarity in your messaging that will move you into the marketing piece, so you can begin to create your model and you can begin to monetize. So once I started with the Q framework, I was like, I may have something here. I did this thing called the effort assessment back in 2015. That was my first framework. I always say that's probably the best thing I ever came up with next to my kids, right? But I remember I was in CJ's office one day and I came up with this thing, and he helped me perfect it and get it right. And then I went home and tried it out with my wife, this effort assessment, and she loved it. And I've been using it, and I still use it to this day. That was the first framework. And I remember C telling me, you need to come up with more of these. But that was 2015. I was busy working, doing things.
Yeah.
And I really didn't know who I was. So now when you hear me say, like you said, like, you're not what you say you do, is a difference. You're not what you say you do. You're a business owner. What you do is a product, program, service, or a reflection of your business. But if you think, like, when my speakers come, I have to tell them, you're not a speaker. If you only think about being a speaker or a coach, all you're going to get is gigs and clients. Mm-hmm. But when you think like a business owner, you'll be able to see opportunities. And from every opportunity, it's an opportunity for a new opportunity. So I created these frameworks to help people understand that there needs to be a strategy and a structure in place to help you get the tools that you need to create the messaging so that you can begin marketing and modeling and monetizing like a business is really supposed to do.
Right.
Instead of doing like we used to do, or like I used to do. I don't know if anybody else did it. I called it hustling back in the day, or freestyling, right? And I heard one of our good friends say, turn your freestyle into a framework.
Yes.
So I began to create frameworks, and I do it now every day. I just created one today, and I'm big on acronyms. I'm big on creating acronyms. So I created a new framework today, something simple. And when I created the framework, then I'll post it. It's crazy, Shawn, because as I create frameworks, I'll do a talk on it. Literally, like I might be on the phone with you, and we'll do I think we did it yesterday.
We did.
We did it yesterday. We created a framework, and so something that we talked about yesterday, I did on a call this morning. And then one of my guys called me and said, "You got a new framework, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm working it through. I'm working through it right now." So I might do 3 or 4 talks on it, make some adjustments to it until finally it's like, oh, this is valuable. Now, let me say this to everybody that's listening. You can't just be creating frameworks and there's no lesson or principle attached to the framework or a specific destination or a specific target or goal, right?
Right.
When you give somebody a framework, it needs to add value in their life or in their business to help them move the needle in some way, shape, or form.
Do you have a favorite framework?
It used to be the effort assessment, and I kind of pulled away from it. Right now, my favorite framework that I'm working on is my sales system, because I'm literally building it out. A few months ago, it was the Q framework. It was the PCS model problem, PCS model problem, consequences, solution. Right now, it's the sales system, because I'm actually helping business owners, entrepreneurs have the system from the beginning, from having the strategy to attract clients, and then taking that strategy as you're attracting clients, putting them into what I call the relationship headquarters. And in that relationship headquarters is your CRM. And then having what I call that first touch protocol, meaning those first 3 touches that you have with your brand new prospect, your brand new lead. And then if there's no movement, if there's nothing, once you attempt those 3 touches or do those 3 touches, if that prospect doesn't do anything, doesn't go to the site or anything, then putting them in your farm club. And that's what I call follow-up framework, where we touch them 19 or 20 times with value, give, ask. So we're giving value 3 times more than we ask for anything.
Got it. And 2 more things about that piece, and then we'll move into the buckets. But once you started to implement that particular framework, right, how have you seen a shift, like, number one, in your business, but your clients as well?
Here's the thing that I'm big on. I always tell people I don't deal with theory, right? So before I present a concept, especially like the sales system, I'm working it. So I've worked the system myself. And for me, it has been phenomenal. Like, I'm literally, most of it I can automate now, but when I started it, I wanted somebody to actually do it. I had to do it first. Then I hired a VA to come in and work it. And as I'm watching her work it and I'm giving her the system, I'm seeing where the gaps are. I'm seeing where the leaks are. And so I'm able to plug those leaks. But it is phenomenal in staying connected. It's phenomenal in communicating, and it's phenomenal in cultivating relationships with your prospects and those people who have an indicator of interest in you and your business. And so it works. So what I do is, once I'm practicing it and I know it works, then I'm releasing it. That's why I tell everybody, every one of my frameworks are always evolving. Always evolving. I think that's where we talk about being the transparency and everything.
Yeah.
I would be a fool. Like, I just think for us to come out with something in 2020, and let's just say June 2020 or July 2020, and think that it is still going to be viable in August of 2020, when we are in a technology age, things are moving and changing. We got pandemic, all of these different things, which are causing people that never use Zoom or any of these platforms to have to do it. Like, your business needs to shift and adapt to the market. And if you're not able to do that, meaning my frameworks need to evolve. I have a young man who has a bakery, and he said, Coach, how can that framework help me in my bakery? This is how it can help you. Like, we shift it. We shift the way the framework is for his specific business, but it's still the same core concept.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So these buckets here.
Another framework.
Yeah. But
Wait, hold on, Sean. Let me tell you how I created that bucket system now.
Yeah. Okay. And guys, those that are listening to as well, like, this is the piece that brings out all that balance, right? And largely about life. But yeah, go ahead and tell me how you created that one.
Literally, I was on the phone with somebody, and I pulled up, my little whiteboard that I pull up on the phone on the Zoom.
Yes.
And I was thinking about the effort assessment. And the effort assessment is like, what are the 4 most important areas of your life? And I was just like, I created 4 buckets. And I was like, as I was drawing the buckets on the screen, I said, think of these as 4 buckets. What are the 4 most important, the biggest priorities in your life right now, the 4 most? And typically people will say their health, they'll say their family, they'll say their career, finances, business, those type of things. And then I asked them, and it's all based on you, how full is this bucket? So if you say your family bucket, and I say, well, how full is the bucket, right? So in the effort assessment, my question is, how much time and effort do you put into it? But in the bucket system, it is, take a look at this bucket, and I want you to be honest. How much time you spending with your family, what you doing, how full is this bucket? And I did it yesterday with somebody. They were like 10%. Family was 10%. Went into business. His business bucket was at 80%, right? His health bucket was at 25%. And then the other bucket was, I think it was at, it was his self-care bucket. And it was like at 40%. And what he said to me was, he said, Coach, I don't feel like I'm steady. It just feels like I'm topsy-turvy and up and down. I said, because all your buckets they all up and down. But I created this based on a system of rhythm, right? Making sure that you have rhythm in the most important areas of your life. Because one of the things I never want to do is be successful in business, but my personal life is a mess. My relationship with my wife is not where it needs to be. My parenting, my relationship with my kids is not where it needs to be, or even the relationship with my clients and with my associates and my friends. I want to make sure that I'm living a full life. And I'm going to tell you, new framework, right? Yeah, right now, I'm going to give it. This is for y'all. I'm going to give it to you right now. I'm working it through. So I'm rolling out a new framework. It's called the CEO framework. Now, I've done a couple of videos on the CEO. Yes. But now, if we define CEO, it is the chief executive officer and manages the business, different roles of the business, right? Different areas, the whole business, not different areas, all of the areas of the business. So the framework is, you're the CEO and you have businesses. The first business is your first bucket. The second business is your second bucket. So it might be, you first have to be able to lead yourself, because I don't believe you manage people, you lead people. Right. So you need to be able to lead yourself. So you first have to be the chief executive officer over yourself. And John Wooden has a quote that says, the best leadership, I'm paraphrasing, but he said the best leadership is personal leadership, right? Mm-hmm. You be the model. So first yourself. Then if you're married or you have a family, now you need to be the CEO over the family. So you need to be the CEO over your life, over your health, and everything that comes with it. Now watch this. If I can't be the CEO over myself and my family, and my house is topsy-turvy, what is that going to look like in the other businesses, in the other work jobs, corporate jobs that I have? How am I going to run that?
How can you take care of everything outside of that? Yeah. Right.
So the framework is, first we start with your first business. That's you. That's what you be the CEO over. Now, how do I lead? Me. Okay. What does your health look like? What does your mindset look like? What are you doing in the area of your relationships? Right? How are you educating yourself? Right? What does your calendar look like? Then we go into all of the other buckets. And now you are a CEO in life and business. And that's going to be this new framework called I'm creating a name off the top of my head, but I think I'm going to call it the Circle of CEOs.
The Circle of CEOs.
Yep.
Right. So what I'm hearing, and what the reason why I rock with you, man, the way that I do, is because there's always a level of accountability, right? but largely like self-reflection, because the biggest thing we just talked about, like you mentioned, is the most important areas of your life, right?
Mhm.
Right. And business can be a part of that, personal, family, health, whatever it is, those are all the important pillars that's going to, keep that building standing. But the self-reflection piece comes in, right?
Yep.
Because we have to make sure that our actions
Mhm.
align with our word.
Yep.
And so that whole piece about this particular framework has been something that's really helped me a lot, because I'm looking into the fact that I started this new business
Yep.
2 years ago, right? And my bucket is filled
Yeah.
for that business piece,
Yeah.
right? But I said that my family is the most important thing. That's what I said,
Yep.
right? But my family bucket is not as full as my business bucket.
Absolutely.
And then health was, but then as I start to fill other buckets, that health bucket started to go down.
But you
And
know
one
why?
of the,
You know what we say?
what's that?
Say, I'm building this business bucket for my family.
Right.
Because I need to provide for them financially, which is absolutely true. But we get stuck at providing financially,
Yes.
and we get lost. So I just changed my mindset and said, instead of me saying I'm doing this for, I have to say to myself, I'm doing this with.
Right.
And that shifted everything for me, the with part. That means I need them to be a part of what I'm doing and get connected to what I'm doing instead of separating everything. And
Right.
that's the rhythm that we create.
Right. Right. So no, this is awesome. And I'm gonna throw you for a loop on this one too as well.
Go ahead.
So I know you're busy, and I'm gonna let you go in just a bit, because we try to keep these under about 30 minutes or so. But one thing that I always do when I open up with a group, like any sort of a training or anything, I
Mhm.
always do this icebreaker, Kendall.
Yep.
And what I ask is, dead or alive, who would you love to have like breakfast, lunch, or dinner with? Like, who would be that one person, dead or alive,
Barack
and
Obama.
why?
Barack Obama.
Okay, and why?
And the reason is, well, can I have two or just
Yeah,
one?
you can have two.
Because you said dead. Nelson Mandela
That's
and
mine
Barack Obama.
actually.
Those two. Yep. Nelson, and both of them because of leadership. Right. Nelson Mandela was a phenomenal leader, and he became that in prison. When he went to prison initially, he was just a radical, militant, wild boy. But the talent was already in him. But those 27 to 28 years in prison helped him to mature as a leader and a man. Right. And here's the trick to that. Most people can come out and just get lost in life. He came out more fervent, more aggressive in the cause of freedom, and said, I am going to become the president of the same country that imprisoned me and make change that way. And he did it from a position of leadership, and he stood. If you listen to him, his talks, he ain't bend. He ain't bowed down. He was super intelligent and called it like it was, but
Right.
was a phenomenal leader. There's a book that I read. If you get a chance, get it. It's called Mandela's Way. And the man that wrote it walked with Mandela during his presidency,
Right.
and learned all these stories from when he was in jail. And one of the quotes that Mandela says is, as a leader, you always be measured, right? Don't ever be too high. Don't ever be too low. He said, lead from the front and the back, meaning be willing to take the point when necessary, but allow other people to take the point so they can become leaders also. And then Barack Obama, because he attained something that no other Black man in America has done, first thing. And he did it not just because he was the quote unquote token. He is a skilled orator and communicator.
Right.
And he displayed phenomenal leadership during trying times, and he still displays it. And so one of the things, if I could sit with him, I wouldn't ask him, how did you do what you do? I would ask him those leadership questions, the tough questions about leading at home, making decisions as the most powerful man in the world. But when your wife tell you, I'm going to need you to take your drawers and get them up off the corner from over there and put them in the hamper, right?
Story
Being
of
a
my
great
life.
husband. Yeah, I got that corner too. We all got that corner.
Yeah.
Being a great husband. So both of them from a leadership perspective.
Got it. And so, Kendall, two things. How can people find you, number one? And then number two, give us some parting words.
Yeah. So you know what I'm gonna say about how they can find me. I always say this. Now you can Google me. I remember I said in the beginning, you can't Google me. Now you can Google me. And I say you can Google me, not in arrogance, but in my good deeds have outweighed my bad. And so what has happened was like all of the great men and women that have come down in America, in the world, they weren't perfect. Nobody's perfect. Everybody got dirt, right?
Yeah.
And so, but what happened is, with Martin Luther King, his good deeds outweighed his bad deeds. Malcolm X, his good deeds outweighed his bad deeds. Sojourner Truth, good deeds outweighed her bad deeds. Michelle Obama, good deeds outweigh bad deeds. And so because I have made it a point to put more good out there, so that that mugshot that was up there, just as it ain't on the 10th page, it's in the millionth page right now.
Nice.
And so what we do is you can just Google me, Kendall Ficklin, and I am Kendall Ficklin on LinkedIn. I'm Kendall Ficklin everywhere, all social media channels, and kendallficklin.com is my website. And all right, let me give you some parting words. Yeah, let me give you some parting words. This is one of my favorite quotes that I said. Most people want what this looks like, but are not willing to go through what it feels like. And let me just let it breathe for a second, but I'm going to tell you what that means. We see the things that we want externally, but most of us don't understand that in order to acquire those things, we're going to have to go and grow through some of the feelings that come along with it. So I always tell people I was willing to sleep in the airports for a couple of years to stay on the road with E and to stay connected because I wanted what it felt like. So when I got to what it looks like, I would appreciate it more because I had to grow through what it felt like. Mm-hmm. And so I want to say to everybody, once you have your eye on that thing that you want, whether it's success in life or business, you know what it looks like, but you must be willing to go through what it feels like. And that's the sacrifice. That's getting up at 4 a.m. Kobe Bryant said something. He said he knew he wanted to be the best basketball player that ever did it. He knew he wanted to drop and take his daughters to school every day. He realized that he was going to have to sacrifice something. He said he wasn't going to sacrifice his family and he wasn't going to sacrifice his basketball. He said, so he made a decision and sacrificed sleep. He was willing to go through what it feels like in order to get to what it looks like. My question for everybody is, what are you willing to go through to get to what it is you say you want? And whatever it is that you say you're willing to go through, remember that you will be tried.
Wow. I guess I shouldn't say anything. That should have been like a mic drop.
Mic drop.
Yeah, pretty much in the broadcast. So I won't take too much away from that, but guys, like really like follow Kendall, like find him. He does a coffee chat or Q&A, I should say, every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. That's a phenomenal time in regards to coaching and, you know, mentoring and such. She's got a great coaching program. And I just, you know, for those that know me, like I'm not going to endorse anyone that's not legitimate. So he's really helped me turn the corner and make a shift in my life and business too as well. So my parting words as always is just, you know, if there's anything that I can do, we can do to help you in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'll be a resource for you and help you in any way that we can. Your mask, please wear your mask, guys. Like you know, they're saying that that's what it's going to take to help all of us be safe. And so, you know, I just, you know, ask people to do that. And so, other than that, I, you know, want everybody to have a great day. Just remember to build relationships before you need them. That's how, you know, Kendall and I got connected. Know your DNA, why you do what you do, why you would fail, you know, who you would let down, and having a plan. So everybody have a great day. And we'll be talking next week at 2:00. I'll see you next Thursday.
Be great.